Okay, so on this question here, we've got an acute angle, and we've got cos of that acute angle, and we've got an obtuse angle, and we know sine of that obtuse angle, and we've got to get various related things. So for the alpha ones, we know cos of alpha, we want to know sine of alpha. Okay, sine of alpha and cos of alpha are related, so in fact it's a relationship between the squares of them. So you're going to be able to think about sine squared of alpha equals, you're going to be able to use an identity, and you're going to be able to substitute your value of cos alpha in, so you're going to be able to actually, after maybe a couple of lines, have got a number, a fraction, that sine squared of alpha is. We need an exact method, so anything that involves going into decimals that you've rounded is incorrect, so you certainly can't do an inverse cos and then do sine of it. You'll get no marks. So you have to use this method where you substitute in this into an identity. Out comes sine squared alpha, so you'll be able to say what sine alpha is. Okay, you're not just going to do a simple-minded square root, you're going to consider both possible values. Any kind of square root has got a plus or minus on. Okay, so when you're actually deciding which it is, that's where you have to take into account that alpha is acute and beta is obtuse. So you're going to need to know things like where sine of x is positive and where it's negative, and same for cos and tan. Okay, so think about the graphs of sine and cos and tan, or if you don't want to do that, then you could do an inverse cos of this and see whether it's acute or not, and see whether you get a positive answer. You can do it by actually experimenting with the actual inverse cos, just to make sure you select the correct one of the two possible signs. Okay, but you're best off selecting either the positive one or the negative one based on whether sine of an acute angle is positive or negative. So think about your unit circle, or think about your graph of sine x to decide where sine x is positive and where it's negative, and which one you need to choose for an acute. And when you come to this one, think about whether for an obtuse angle you want, for this one you have to do tan, and you have to do sec, which is 1 over one of the other ones. So think about whether tan of an obtuse angle you'd expect to be positive or negative, and that's how you resolve the plus or minuses. For this one here, you're starting with a sine. You're asked for, first of all, a tan and then a sec. Okay, well, neither of these are particularly directly related to sine of beta, but you could start by saying, as you did here, if I know sine of beta, I can work out cos of beta, because they are related by an identity that relates actually sine squared beta to cos squared beta. So if I was doing this one, I'd say, I know what sine beta is. My first step is going to be to use one of the identities to find cos of beta, bearing in mind that beta is obtuse, and that will help me select whether it's positive or negative. Hope that helps. Oh, and by the way, exactly this happens in one of the examples in your notes. So turn to that example and make sure you understand it, all right? But the issues are what I've just said.